Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
But who is he?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
And who is he?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer.
And what he do?
And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. We are reacting today to the rebuttal on the Johnny Depp trial. Now, let's just kind of recap a little bit of what happens during a civil process. So you've got their case in chief, they rest, then you have the defense puts on their case, now you have a rebuttal. And what the rebuttal is designed to do is be specifically tailored to something that the defense has raised. And in this case, Amber Heard's defense. Now, I've seen a lot of reactors, this is like a whole cottage industry reacting to the Johnny Depp thing. It's kind of crazy, all the different people that are reacting to it. And everybody's looking for, look at this moment here, or look at this moment there. Well, what I've noticed is it's not really more of a this moment or that moment. It's the collective moments. It's the slow drip, 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 the chiseling away at the credibility of Amber Heard. We heard from, and I'll play this here for you in a second, from Kate Moss. That was a critical point in Amber Heard's testimony, where she testified that she didn't want to be like Kate Moss, where she was pushed down a flight of stairs. That opened the door. That totally opened the door to Johnny Depp being able to bring in Kate Moss to say it never happened. He was never like that with me. Really giving him a chance to give his own character evidence from an independent party, or not independent party, but from somebody who had intimate knowledge of who he was, and somebody who wouldn't have been allowed to testify but for Amber Heard's statements. Then you have, Amber Heard, put up psychologists, and then they came back and were able to rebut some of the other information that they had. But one of her psychologists, this is just hilarious. And when you look at the difference in the caliber of witnesses between the Depp side and the Amber Heard side, it is just stark.
Any of Mr. Depp's other portrayals in movies, did that affect your analysis of processing speed?
Only I've seen him interact on interviews, and that was it.
Right.
So what they did with Amber Heard is she was able to sit down with Johnny Depp's expert for hours and do testing. So that is how you do this. And so what this guy did, he watched some of his movies and came up with a diagnosis that way.
But he wasn't in movies.
Right. But Willy Wonka doesn't matter to you? You see him in that movie, Charlie and Chocolate Factory? Did you look at that one when you were comparing this processing speed?
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
Do I answer that question?
It's bizarre. It's bizarre. That's what you call a nervous fucking tick, okay? And it's just bizarre. So I don't care what his credentials are. I don't care how acclaimed he is. When you do this, and you can fucking hear his mouth smacking, it just sounds ridiculous. And then he looks at the judge and he says, "Do I have to answer that question?"
You have to answer questions. Yes, sir.
No, you'll be happy to know I didn't see Willy Wonka I didn't see 21 Jump Street when it happened, or whatever it was about. No, I did not.
He just seems odd, and so whatever his credentials are is lost in his presentation. What is a trial? Trial is all about communication. All about communication. And we've seen with the I would never hire this guy in a million years. He may be very fine, very qualified, but his presentation sucks. So we also heard from the guy at the Trailer Palace, and he just who if he wants this 15 minutes of fame, that was Amber Heard's lawyer's cross-examination theme, that he just wanted his 15 minutes of fame and that's about it. And the problem that I have with that is, he owned the place, and when it came time to talk about the damage done, if you remember, Amber Heard testified that there was a significant amount of damage done, blah blah blah, and there wasn't. There was a lamp that was broken, and it was $62 or whatever, however much it was. Then you have the person that Amber's sister lived with, and she directly contradicted everything Whitney Enriquez had said. So what you have on the rebuttal is a chip away at Amber's credibility, and she's kind of left with nothing to corroborate anything she's saying. Now, we also heard from the executives at Warner Brothers, and they talked about the lack of chemistry between Jason Momoa and Amber Heard. They also talked about the contract and how the statements made by Johnny Depp's lawyers didn't have any impact on her contract, because it wouldn't have. So I think the long and short of it is, I think her claims are going to fail, and I think that Johnny Depp's claims seem more credible. So if it turns out that they really don't like her, they're going to tag her. They're going to tag, but we don't know that yet. So then they call Johnny in rebuttal. They call Johnny Depp, and his testimony now is limited. It's got to be just to refute things that were said on the defense's case in chief. Now here's the thing. If you look at this, there was a lot said, and so really, it's supposed to be limited, but it really kind of isn't.
There.
Thank you. We can take this down. Mr. Depp, do you recall Ms. Heard testifying that she punched you in the staircase incident because she thought of Kate Moss in the stairs?
Do I remember her saying that?
Yes.
Yes, I do. 3 times. Yes, I do.
Do you have any understanding as to what Ms. Heard was referring to?
Yes, I do.
So here's the problem that Amber Heard has. First of all, she's over-dramatized everything. And when she talks about something that she wasn't there for and has no idea about whether it's true or not, she's so reckless with the truth that, she doesn't know a truth from a lie, in my opinion. And so when you do that, you're not careful about what you say. And when you're not careful about what you say, the other side can pick up on that and then have something that absolutely is provably false.
As Kate Moss, Kate testified, it was many, many years ago. And exactly what happened is what she said happened.
So Johnny Depp would not have been able to talk about that incident at all had Amber Heard not mentioned it in her direct examination. If you remember, there was a time where Johnny Depp's lawyers were like, yes.
In my head, instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs, and I swung at him. And
And the reason they're like that is because they had Kate Moss in their pocket. They had Kate Moss. She's going to testify, and they knew exactly what she was going to say. How idiotic is it really? It was unnecessary. She didn't even have to bring that up, but she opened the door.
Recall.
So this is why this is important, because everything Johnny Depp has said so far seems like it's backed up. Let's see what Kate Moss, and this is kind of powerful stuff.
Would you please state your full name for the record?
Kate Moss.
Did there come a time when you and Mr. Depp had a romantic relationship?
Yes.
For how long, Ms. Moss, were you and Mr. Depp a romantic couple?
From 1993 to 1994 to 1998.
So she's been in a relationship with him for 4 years.
Make out with Mr. Depp.
We were leaving the room, and Johnny left the room before I did, and there had been a rainstorm, and as I left the room, I slid down the stairs, and I hurt my back.
See, this totally cuts into Amber Heard's story because she's basing it on some rumor innuendo. But here's what else it did. Listen to this next part because this is kind of important.
How did you... I apologize, Ms. Moss. Please continue.
And I screamed because I was because I didn't know what had happened to me and I was in pain. And he came running back to help me and carried me to my room and got me medical attention.
Now you've got that vision, right? You've got the vision of Johnny Depp running back. I mean, so this isn't just, okay, Amber's a liar. This is, not only is Amber a liar, but Johnny's a good guy. That gives you a completely different impression of who Johnny Depp is compared to the monster that Amber Heard is trying to create. And this is totally unnecessary. Had she never mentioned Kate Moss at all, and her lawyers, I'm sure, told her not to do it. But she's what you call in charge. She's a narcissist. She's just one of those people who's just knows best, right? But she opened the door, and all of a sudden you've got this great evidence, character evidence of Johnny Depp, and it's irrefutable. I mean, they didn't do squat with her on cross. Now here's the other thing. TMZ has tried to interject themselves into this and trying to suppress a witness. Now, there's a witness saying that's going to likely testify that Amber Heard or somebody from Amber Heard's crowd gave them the video of Johnny Depp kind of going crazy, right? And she, on direct examination, or on cross, actually, had denied that she had anything to do with it. And if you remember, this is where she did this kind of thing in her deposition. But let's just... And so TMZ is trying to prevent this person from testifying. It's a former employee.
Bearing on this case, and is thus not germane to this litigation, therefore I'll deny the non-party EHM Productions motion to intervene.
Thank you, Your Honor. For the record, I've known Mr. Tobin for several years. I meant no snarkiness toward him.
Well, you're just a snarky guy.
So what happened was he had said that TMZ is no Edward R. Murrow. In other words, because the argument is that this is a journalistic thing. TMZ sought to intervene based upon a First Amendment right of privilege, reporter privilege. But it didn't go anywhere, and they didn't, they've made a record of it, but the witness is going to come in and hopefully testify, and we'll see what happens. So after Johnny Depp testified, or the way they wound it down was just... was really good, I thought. Let's just take a clip.
Mr. Depp, I'd like to take you back to exactly 6 years prior to this week, the week of May 21st through May 27th, 2016. What happened at the beginning of that week? And did Ms. Heard know how long you'd be out of town?
I don't know if she knew exactly how long I'd be out of town, but it was a pretty extensive tour of Europe.
How did Ms. Heard's actions on May 27th, 2016 affect you?
So that last question is an excellent question, but it's a very broad, open-ended question. Now they object to it to throw them off their game. They just... some people talk about strategic objecting. I never do that. I try not to object unless I have a really good faith I try not to object unless I have a good faith reason to do so.
changed everything.
Objection, Your Honor.
Oh, it didn't change
of this
everything?
lawsuit.
You know, it doesn't really help his case to be clever like that. It didn't help everything. But listen to the rest of this speech, because it's really, I think, moving.
Sorry.
Sure, if you could wait till the objection, please.
Yes, I'm sorry. Tourette's.
Your Honor, this is one of the key dates. Mr. Depp, what has it been like for you to listen to Ms. Heard's testimony at this trial?
I'm sorry.
What has it been like for you to listen to Ms. Heard's testimony at this trial?
Objection, relevance, Your Honor.
Oh, overruled.
Insane. It's insane to hear heinous accusations of violence, sexual violence, that she's attributed to me, that she's accused me of. I don't think anyone enjoys having to split themselves open and tell the truth. But there are times when one just simply has to, because it's gotten out of control. Horrible. Ridiculous, humiliating, ludicrous, painful, savage, unimaginably brutal, cruel, and all false. All false. I wanted I
See, at that point, he should object, because now it's narrative. But it's an incredible. You get a vision of who this guy is.
No human being is perfect, certainly not. None of us. But I have never in my life committed sexual battery, physical abuse, all these outlandish, outrageous stories of me committing these things and living with it for 6 years and waiting to be able to bring the truth out. So this is not easy for any of us. I know that. But no matter what happens, I did get here, and I did tell the truth, and I have spoken up for what I've been carrying on my back reluctantly for 6 years.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right.
Fantastic. So you take the character evidence that was brought in by Kate Moss, and that speech right there, hard not to like the guy. Really hard not to like the guy. And then all the chipping away that they did on the various instances where they can prove that Amber Heard is not telling the truth. I don't see how he loses this case. So this is Bruce Rivers. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, follow. We're going to get some more great content coming up. Spread the word. We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe. Patreon. We're helping good people out there. We'll see you next time. Criminal Lawyer Reacts.